into a social compact, an agreement, a compact, call it what you like, to create a more humane society that protects the most vulnerable amongst us. Now, 22 years later, as we reflect on where we have come from, as we reflect on the tremendous achievements of our democracy, as we sit back and think about the journey we have traversed, and as we deliberate on the enormous challenges we must still overcome, let us resolve here that the time has come for a new social compact, a new social agreement, a new social contract. Let us resolve that the needs of our people are indeed so great, the extent of their deprivation so severe, and their desire for meaningful progress so relentless, that we must work and work as hard as we can, but with a greater degree of urgency, to forge a social compact for profound economic change. The prevailing economic conditions that our country finds itself in calls for this. It makes this task much more imperative. This is not a moment, as I said, for us to be looking back and saying things were better before 1994. This is not a moment where we should be hiding our heads in the sand like an ostrich. This time calls for great minds, clever minds, energetic hands. This is the time when we should be getting together and see how best we can chart a future, a better future for our country. We need greater collaboration among all social partners who are capable of leadership and coming up with a common vision. This is the moment that calls for it. We need decisive action that will steer our country from despair to hope. We need to move from a negative narrative to a positive narrative, to a narrative that says this country has been here before and we emerged from doubt to hope. That's where we were before. We did emerge from hopelessness to being enormously hopeful about the future of our country. This time requires all of us to put our heads together and not to lament and not to complain and not to whinge and not to cry and not to run away. This is the time when we all must get together and say, we the two, South Africa, where are we going as South Africans? What must we now do? That time has now arrived. We're now called upon to forge a social compact, a new social compact, to take us on another wave of progress and a wave of charting a new path for South Africa.